Our favorite people over at Bounding Into Comics are back with some fantastic news showing that common sense, at least at Warner Brothers, seems to be getting a stronger foothold in the company and how they operate. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav stands behind recent content cuts. The strategy of spending money with abandon while making a fraction in return is deeply flawed. Absolutely. If you go back and watch some of my previous videos on this, it's all numbers. They need to make money. Cavill makes money. We broke down his films, what each one made during their opening weekend and their entire time while they were in the box office. Cavill makes money. These other woke, intersectional, feminist projects do not. They aren't even, lead losers, which anybody who has been in any type of retail or especially food service, you have your lead loss where you put this product out here and you're selling it at a loss, but it's to get people to purchase more items or to get a more expensive drink, because if they're like, oh, well, I'm having these onion rings and they're really salty, and so now I really want this drink that is maybe $6 when the cost is $2.50, something of that nature. But none of these shows are that type of content. Nothing that the CW was churning out was any type of content like that. And DC, Warner Brothers, has not been churning out any content like that either. They needed big hits, and they're not getting them because the writing is atrocious. Doesn't matter how good of an actor or an actress you are. If the writing is atrocious, there's nothing that can save you. There's only so much an actor or an actress can do when the writing is absolutely terrible. And considering that Warner and Discovery just assumed $55 billion in debt because of everything, because of all of these vanity projects, they don't have time for this. Zaslav knows that this company that he has now been put in charge of, that he is the CEO of, needs winners. And they need to be smart with their money. We're about to see something happen that we've not in a long time. They don't have endless supplies of money. They don't have the super deep pockets that they did because they are so far underwater, which means they are going to have to get creative and they're going to have to get good. So let's dive into this article and see what Bounding has to say. According to CEO David Zaslav, the recent bloodbaths across Warner Brothers Discovery various studios were the result of his goal to restructure the company and revamp its deeply flawed, in other words, unprofitable, content strategy. Zaslav offered his insight on WBD's newfound direction during the 2022 Quarter 3 earnings call on November 3rd. That was yesterday. Amid a more challenging economic environment, a significant amount of change is required, the CEO told investors after reporting a third quarter loss of $2.31 billion. It's messy, it's challenging, it's taken real courage to restructure this company. Speaking to his controversial cutting of various projects such as Batgirl, Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, and Scoob Holiday Haunt, Zaslav bluntly explained, content is the heart of everything we do, and we are investing at historic levels, but it's no longer about how much, but how good. And that is something we have not heard in a long, long time. And ultimately, it is the consumer, paying customer, that tells us what's good, he added. Absolutely, 100% hammer on the head of the nail. This is what we are talking about. Warner Brothers doesn't have the money to throw around like Disney is able to shuffle all this stuff around, or Amazon is allowed to take these huge losses because they have all these other forms of revenue and income. That's not the situation for DC and Warner. Like, it's Discovery Warner Brothers merger is something that was desperately needed by both companies, and now they're going to have to really pump out quality content to ensure their survival. Laying out his view of the company's current situation, Zaslav then asserted, let's face it, the strategy to collapse all windows, starve linear television and theatrical, and spend money with abandon while making a fraction in return, all in the service of growing sub numbers, has ultimately proven, in our view, to be deeply flawed. One thing that doesn't work for us is spending $1 billion while collapsing a motion picture window into a streaming service, he said. The movies that we launch into the theater do significantly better. Launching a 2-hour, an hour and 40-minute movie direct to streaming has done almost nothing for HBO Max in terms of viewership, retention, or love of the service. It's exactly true. People want to go to the theater and have that experience. People aren't sick of theaters. People want something worth going to. That's what we've been saying. Later addressing his outlook on the company's television offerings, Zaslav assured investors that we're very committed to scripted, but we want to measure what people are watching and what they're not watching. It means they're going to be paying attention to what people want. If a repeat of 2.5 Men or Big Bang Theory does 3 times the ratings of a brand new show, or another season that we greenlit of a show that's costing us $7.5 million, we're going to cancel that show. So that means if reruns are outdoing the new content ain't gonna make it. Then we're going to try and get another scripted series that has a chance to really deliver and delight and engage an audience, he declared. But we are being deliberate about measuring how the shows are doing. Ratings, folks, that's what they care about. Ultimately, Zaslav explicitly clarified that we did not get rid of any show that was helping us, and we got rid of those shows so that we could focus on producing new content that will. They cut the dead weight. It's a business of failure, concluded the CEO, but we'd rather take that money and spend it again and have a chance of having a show that will engage and delight on either our traditional platforms or subscription platforms. Okay, so he's not giving up on content altogether, but what he is saying here is that Warner Brothers Discovery has to take this approach. If they didn't cut their losses now, if they didn't cut the dead weight now, it would sink them later and it would be too late. And he knows that. Everybody knows that. They are massively in debt and they have to deliver quality content. They don't have another choice. WBD's next major cinematic release, Magic Mike's Last Dance, is expected in theaters on January 13th, 2023. So guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Was bringing Cavill back and doing all of these cancellations and reassuring audiences that they're trying to listen to the paying customer going to do the trick? Or is it too little too late for Warner Brothers and Discovery? And is this just a sinking ship that hasn't realized that they've hit the iceberg yet? I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. Much love. God bless. Godspeed. Talk to y'all later.